I think I already said it, but Ellie, the eggs look delicious.
Thank you. If anybody wants some, just come over.
Yeah, because that's doable.
Worm might be
Just come
able to,
over.
actually.
You might need to bring a carton of eggs, though. I just have 3 left.
All
I'll
right.
bring some of my whole ass chickens.
Well, we're starting a little late, so let's jump
right.
into it. We are back.
Miles with the infinite egg hack.
Well, we are back with hold on a second. I have to reboot on my end a little bit. We are back with Lock and Load Session 11. Last time, oh no, this is also incorrect. Fuck! I'm getting my screens mixed up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do something really quick. Sorry, I had everything ready, and then like it just wouldn't work.
Just all of a sudden, need a break from the ads?
Need a break.
Need a break from the ads?
Need a break from the ads? Need a break from the ads? So, last time, we had quite a bit of narrative revelations going on, and in the background, while we were setting up, we kind of came up with some new additions to the story to make it a little bit more interesting. So, to start, essentially, and to recap, we have discovered, after meeting up with Markov's old guard captain, whose name is Kaimor, the prince survived, though the details are a little bit, like, iffy, likely because the prince is not really willing to explain or has not had time. However, in the meantime, the prince and Kaimor have been trying to gather allies and gather loyalists to the old crown, as we don't in-game know why, but a lot of us players have already theorized very much that the Omrai Empire that is now no more, Theron's old kingdom, was attacked by its sister empire, the Tikal Empire. But there's no massive amounts of proof other than what Prince Theron is able to give. We also have learned by this point that the scenario with, essentially with becoming criminals, being outed by the Tikal Empire, it's all been a gambit. It's all been a long con for the Tikal Empire to essentially make it harder for the prince and for Markov to function. And above board, we also have agreed that it might also be the fact that they're trying to get Markov and Theron together to take them out, like, at the same time. Obviously, because Markov is not easily killed by just one bitch-ass assassin. If that assassin got lucky, awesome, 2 birds with 1 stone. But they kind of planned for him to not get lucky.
Up all night to get lucky.
Up all night to get lucky.
And they absolutely did not, because all they did was see it.
We also learned that Zuriel's brother and the baby dragon that saved Zuriel from being chomped by the shadow dragon are actively looking for him, and are at this point in Banahaw, which we are no longer in, as we have spent a couple of days rushing out of Banahaw to Beltzira, all the way to Cascata, and then we're going to go on a boat to go to the remains of the Omrai Empire. And those who have been paying attention to the story and know that I used Rashid's Lands of Thea, which is a very good supplement, and I do think you should use it. We are going a little off book for this one. The Omrai Empire is very much a concept that my my partner has come up with. But that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do with tabletops. So, as we are setting sail, there's a couple of questions. Like this session, honestly, is gonna be very writer's room heavy. But like again, it's kind of the fun of the way that we're playing this, where we're not trying to put on as much of a show as much as we're just trying to have fun, roll dice, and be amazed at what we come up with. That's like the real antithesis of this game, and so far we've had a really good time with it. But today, in particular, I know I have a handful of questions I'd like the dice and the players to answer. And I know that just before we went live, Beckett, aka Miles, had quite a few good ideas to pitch that we started like going over. So to begin, we've already established that the Tikal Empire is trying to bait Theron and Markov to be in the same place at the same time. In-game, our characters don't know this. Out of game, obviously, since we're the ones writing the story, we do. Miles, you wanted to pitch the idea that the Omrai Empire was known for having a close relationship with a sect of shapeshifters and changelings who would work as peacekeepers and spies.
Exactly.
Ryan, are you against that idea?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely trying to make sure I'm not stepping on any toes.
You're fine.
Protector group of shapeshifters / changelings. And as we were talking about, I think we kind of unanimously agree and like the idea that when the Omrai Empire collapsed, that like sort of, I can't think of like what the Ninja Clan is, but like if you know anything about the Sugoku Jidai and like the Ninja Clan that was like very like loyal to a certain shogun, like when that essential sect of protectors had no one to serve anymore, presumably, on the grand scale, as far as the public knows, they just dispersed and went into the shadows. In reality, while they did do that, they also managed to meet up with Theron and essentially whisk him away to safety and to, you know, plan out what their next move is, because on the grand world stage, no one knows why the Omrai Empire fell or who attacked. The biggest rumor is a fuck-off dragon. Which, you know, with how those have been popping up lately...
Let's see, we got mama one and her little baby. We got a big fuck-off shadow one. We got the undead one that's just zooming about now.
It's kind of a thing, ain't it?
Not a great start.
And I will also remind everyone that with Thea, they have a history, a very negative history with dragons. So if there were any dragons who were alive in the modern era of Thea, they are also in hiding. So the fact that they are becoming more of a prominent and in fact factual threat again, I think we need to go ahead and make a note that Thea is starting to kind of lose its shit on the grand stage. Like, on, like, our level as just, like, adventurers and questers, like, we're kind of keeping ourselves busy just trying to go through day to day. Also, I also kind of like this concept that Banaha is coping with the terrible reality that their old oppressors are back, with the idea that a bunch of schmucks that no one knew about stood up to a dragon, told it to fuck off, and then one of the greatest heroes of the world came in and said, yeah, fuck off, and, like, beat the dragon back. Like, everyone has a mix of emotions right now.
So, like, my sort of idea on it is Banaha shitting bricks. Belt Ziggurat is confused in shitting bricks, because that's presumably where it flew away from, right?
Yeah.
Towards the mountains. Dragonfall is probably now getting, like, rumors and stories of it.
Especially now that Calliope went there.
Exactly.
Yep.
And now they're confused and, like, need to confirm shit. Like, the rumors and, like, word of mouth is starting to spread, and either it's A, oh, fuck, is it another Dragon War? Or, what? No, they've been dead for centuries. Down's a copium bottle.
Meanwhile, the king doing shifty eyes.
Dead for centuries, Zuriel. I have 2 major dragon experience within the last, like, year or 2. I promise you.
So, with all of that established...
By the way, because my brain has been obsessing over this, the ninjas you were referring to were the Iga ninjas.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is the Iga clan. You are correct. Thank you. Like, for anyone who knows anything about history, like, the way I imagine the changelings and shapeshifters to be for the Omrai Empire is very much, like, inspired by the Iga clan loyalty. With that, fuck, I love how this is expanding. This is fun. I have several questions that I'd like to ask the group and Dice, but since I'm the most talkative and the most boisterous and the most full of myself, I think it would make more sense that, like, someone else get their chance to ask questions first, because I am going to ask a lot of questions today.
I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
I gotta get better at thinking of questions.
The only thing that I'm thinking of is, what are the chances that our individual hurdles are starting to converge?
Ooh.
Do you mean like our how much of like our personal quests are starting to line up on the grand stage?
Yeah, well, like that, and also like with Sarge, his current goal is to basically just remain an adventurer, in opposition to anyone from his past who may want him to answer some questions.
Oh, yeah, because we've established that you and I are still working on the deeper lore of Sarge, which kind of makes it more fun, where it's like, oh man, like what is Sarge's backstory? He's not really becoming with it. We're still kind of digging into the deeper end of it. One thing that has always been true is that Sarge left his old life to become an adventurer because that's what in his heart of hearts he wanted to be.
Yeah. So like I'm just curious, like, so like we've also got like all this stuff we found out about Beckett's backstory, and now we've got Noir's interest in us, like specifically Beckett. But like, do we have any inkling of, is she just going to hang around in the background while all this is going on, waiting for her opportunity, or is she actively involved with this as well?
So that's
Are we gonna get a double boss fight here?
I
Please
actually
no.
please no. I mean, we've gotten a lot stronger now. I don't know. Anyway, I will say this. That is kind of one of the questions essentially that I wanted to ask. So let me try to rephrase that in a way of yes or no. Are our mutual enemies like acknowledging each other's existence and or working together?
Good question.
All right, and we've still got the chaos
what you
factor.
said.
Yeah, so we still got the chaos factor of 7. I'm willing to say it's likely because of like how grand this is all getting, but I'm also not. I wouldn't be hard pressed to say it's a 50-50.
I feel like it's also likely because Noir, she seems to be the one to. She seems like
Very capable.
Yeah, she seems like if somebody is in her way in one way or another, and she knows kind of, she'll get as much information about their goals and what they want as possible, and then she'll do whatever she can to like inconvenience them. So she seems like the one to go around and make friends and quote unquote friends in high places. And use those sort of connections to manipulate everything to what she wants.
I'll also
think that's very
say
smart.
she strikes me as the type, like, yes, to like get to know her targets and figure out what's going on with them and all that, but also I feel like she'd get involved just to make sure our enemies don't take us out before she can make use of us.
Mhm.
Yeah, she has both
That too.
a vested interest in us not dying, but also getting us off the board.
Hi, I'm vested interest.
Vested interest.
Okay. I also would agree with that, on top of the fact that I kind of feel like Noir would use this opportunity she has to make allies with the Tikal Empire.
Allies. More like, oh, I see some blackmail. I would love some blackmail. Maybe a little bit of usurping a throne in 12 years past. Who knows?
No,
We'll
honestly, I 100% like knowing what I know about Noir. It's like, you know what? I don't think it's her main goal, but like she wouldn't mind having that as a backup plan.
My main goal is to blow up.
And act like I don't know nobody.
There's just that little bit of Napoleon voice in the back of her head, like, you know, we could probably just take that throne.
And if I should indulge in a cheeky little bit of regicide, who could hold it against me?
A girl's gotta have fun sometimes.
What's the quote from it? What's the quote from Tough to Be a God? It's like, if they say I'm a god, that's what I am.
What I am.
All right, cool. So we're all going on the likely category. Do we think it's very likely? Because it's sounding like we think it's very likely.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, here comes the roll.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's not an exceptional yes, but at the very least, this tells us that with us escaping Cascata, which I should actually sit down at some point and actually describe Cascata, maybe, because, like, we kind of just showed up and then pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
We didn't stay very long.
We're on the lam.
That's true, and we also were, like, kind of finagling how much of the map we were gonna change, and then I just decided, nah, fuck it, we'll make up that shit is off of another part of the world. Anyway, I like the idea that as we've escaped and we are going out to sea towards the former empire, around this time, Noir is doing back and forth letters and communication with the Tikal Empire, and thus is essentially getting ready. I like what you said before, Worm, that maybe she's saying, you can kill the other four, but the rat-looking one needs to be mine alive.
Yeah, because she does strike me as the type of like, hey, look, we all want them. You want this one. Y'all want that one. This one's mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And even if the king's like, I'm the king, and then she just like does that lean forward and says, no, that one.
You may be the
is
king,
mine."
but I hold the crown.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute.
So it's definitely not they're on the same side, but it's like...
They're tentative work buddies at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's work together to kill us and
They'll meet up at the water tank, but not say a damn word.
If it's not business related, like, hey, do you have that report that I need? Like, they don't talk.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've established that. Here's the big question that I want to know. I kind of want to know how big the Omrai Empire was, how big Omrai and Tikal were on the grand stage of the world, because if an empire like we've been kind of skirting around it for a while because it wasn't as important, but now it's become very important. I'm curious, like, how the collapse of that empire affected the world. Like, the empire only fell about less than 2 years ago in game, so like that has to have some kind of ramifications, right?
So, I was thinking that it would be like the size of like with everybody that's in it, it would be the size of like a small country. Even if a small country falls, that's gonna have a big impact on the economy and shit.
Yeah,
so...
which would actually also make a lot of sense why in Banahaw, like, shit was so... Why everyone was so corrupt, why there wasn't enough pay or guard going around. It's all coming together.
Why they had to enlist someone as the treasurer when it was really a black market salesperson.
That also actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
It was literally like, I'm just gonna make this a mob town. But that'll still leave some order in this fucking place.
I also think it's really fun how, because Miles said this last game as the lieutenant, I believe, was saying that they had trade systems in place with the Avariel, and I was thinking that they're the only place that knew, like, had any level of knowledge, because clearly Markov didn't know, but the lieutenant knew about the Avariel, right?
Oh, like maybe the Omrai Empire was like in the beginnings of like connecting with Zuriel's people, but
Yes.
that fell through obviously when Omrai like went under.
Oh
Right.
yeah, it was probably like a month into negotiations of like how the trade would work, what was being given, what was taken, etc., etc. And then they fell, and there's the Yavario like, well, fuck.
I think
Oh,
think
well.
it's okay. So the Avariel, I've always been imagining them as like this, like really small sort of like mountain village, mountain town, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they had a lot of like wealth to trade, but they probably had like quite a few like unique items, right?
Oh,
materials
I just
or
Yeah.
I just thought of something awful.
Oh,
What?
no.
I'm sure the Tikal Empire has a very vested interest in those people that their cousin state, oh, how tragic it was they fell, somehow got some magic materials from some unknown place from unknown people that they were not willing to
One fear.
disclose about.
Oh
One fear.
no!
See, what else I was thinking is I think the Avariel were like I think long ago, like when the dragons were still around, I think long ago Avariel were pretty well known, but they started like dwindling down, and as they dwindled down, they went into hiding basically. And I think Zuriel's village is like one that was like, okay, maybe we could start connecting with the outside world. And then this empire they start trading with for like a couple months, and then it falls through, and they're like, well, we gotta hide again, guys.
Yeah,
We
like
can't
they,
go this. Goddamn.
Oh,
goddamn.
okay, Ellie, cut me off if this is going too far, but what if I'm like literally taking a page from Heaven's Word over here. What if the Ivariel were actually allied with the dragons in the past? Like
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
It was millennia ago, and their rare resource is dragon scales. Like the toughest thing in this world, right? It can take magic hits. It can make fucking badass armor that is almost unpierceable, and they were offering it to the
Omrai.
To the Omrai, yeah. And the Omrai were like, shit, these little guys have this? And the thing is, the reason why you started hating dragons over time is because you guys just had dragon scales. You didn't know exactly, like, the history was sort of lost over
It was
time.
lost to time.
Exactly. So you thought you were great warriors that slew dragons with ease since you could fly with them. Even though you guys were actually just allied with them.
I think that is like yes, but also I think it depends, like it might depend from village to village. So like when you were bringing up like, oh, you guys were allies, I think they were definitely allies. And even in Zuriel's village, there's like, with that history lost to time, Avariel live like a really long time. They're elves. I think there's probably a couple of like really old elves that are just like, I remember the stories, or like maybe even when I was a child, and
The
like,
young meerkat.
When I was a young warthog,
I remember when I was a child, I remember flying with the dragons peacefully. But I think like as I think depending like what, because like I don't think there's a lot, but I imagine there's more than just Zuriel's village around.
Oh
the
yeah,
world.
like I kind of have this idea in my head that like the large spire like mountain that because like I think we established before that like where Zuriel comes from is practically an island in and of itself.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like the idea that it's like a mountain, like literally an island mountain. And, like, that was, like, because of that, like, they did have good relations with the dragons. Here's something I would want to toss your way, Ellie, for this, and we can leave this up to dice rolls. Not all the dragons during the Great Dragon War were on the side of the dragons. It's said in the Thea book that almost half of the dragons agreed that what they had become and what they had made mortals become were not okay. Like, they said, hey, we need to fucking stop. We need to restructure ourselves. So a sizable amount of dragons were on the side of mortals. So I wonder if maybe it's half true. Like, it's like you said, yes, but also the idea that, like, there were great warriors and dragon riders or, like, dragon compatriots who fought together in the Great Dragon War, but given the concept of, like, you know, live for a long time but don't, you know, have a lot of babies, your people don't exactly have that as many people who survived the wars, and the only people who did were people who grew up not being fighters and only being told, yeah, you know Steve? Yeah, like the cool dragon that, like, knows how to do the poker tricks? Yeah, he's dead, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead.
Damn.
Because, like, okay, when I was originally creating Zuriel, I had envisioned that his fear of dragons was, like, ingrained into him from, like, a young age. It wasn't just from his, like, you know, experience of being almost eaten and falling. But, like, the more we talk about this, I think it was less ingrained in him from a young age, and it was, like, his fear of dragons was mostly from that one traumatic event. And I think, like, it's gonna depend on person to person with Zuriel's, like, people, because it's gonna depend on, you know, who actually pays attention to the elders when they talk of their stories and stuff like that.
Not only that, but, like, it also would still make sense to have a weird feeling about dragons, because, I mean, the dragons were also killing mortals very openly, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, like, multi-shades of gray situation. Okay. So with that, I don't think we have to roll on that. I think that's just a very good, like, history for Zuriel's people to be from.
Yeah.
I want to say then, going back to the original question of how much the Omrai Empire affected the overall world. Yes or no question, I would ask Ari for this. Would you think the Omrai, even though they were small, they had a very significant, like, connection of, like, information, trade? Like, they were very much, their wealth was resources and information, and when that fell off, I wonder if a lot of the other continents of the world went through or are still, to this day, going through, like, a very fucked up dark period of, like, wow, like, everything's gone to shit. Like, we don't have resources like we did before. We don't have communication like we had before.
So, how I imagine the Omrai Empire is like an angry chihuahua. Where they weren't very big, but man, they made their presence known and they were angry all the time. But I think that other countries would know they were gone, be like, oh man, the little country that could finally kick the bucket.
Damn. And those that were allied with it are like, shit, we just lost our biggest resource of information on our enemies.
That honestly also makes a lot of sense on the grand scale of the world, because I like the idea that maybe because the kingdom was so yappy and proud, like I think Ryan, you and I have established before that we want the idea that the Omrai were not evil, like how the Tikal were. But I like the idea.
They were like the Spartans.
Yes. Yeah, like they were loud, they were proud, they were powerful, but man, they were in over their head.
Yeah.
Which also I think
came knocking.
Yeah, essentially, which makes the rumor of, like, what happened to the Omrai, because no one is fessing. That's my question. Are the world governments trying to figure out who to blame for the Omrai Empire's collapse? Or is that like a discussion being held behind closed doors?
Or do they not
I
even
think that's
care?
going to happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly just to be like, hey, we got to figure out who did this so that that person doesn't do that to us.
Okay, so you're saying you want that, like, that's locked in. That should be a locked in plot.
That's, yeah.
Okay. Here's my follow-up question. Besides Tikal, obviously, does anyone actually have an inkling of who might have done it?
Maybe some of the, like, lords and barons of Amrai, but they probably are in hiding right now.
Okay, so we're kind of going off the idea, and I'm gonna roll on this. We're going off the idea that allegedly the Tikal Empire got away with it.
Allegedly, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's an exceptional yes. So that paints this out to be that unless you were from Amrai or you are currently a higher up in Tikal, no one knows who attacked. And this is where I want to add my follow-up to that. Because no one knows, I think a lot of the different governments are looking at their allies, and especially their enemies, with, like, worried expressions. Because, like, no one's fessing up to doing it, but because Amrai... I like the idea that technically some had more reason, but everyone had something to gain by taking out the Amrai Empire. So, and
Probably,
with...
yeah.
And no...
Land being one of the foremost, obviously.
Yeah, but since no one's fessing up and no one is desperately clawing for the land because all of the continents are trying to keep a tentative peace, that's like the rumor going around where everyone is like really uncomfortable and like no one wants to really talk about it, but in secret all of their spies are desperately trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, which only makes more sense why the Tikal Empire is trying to get the Prince and Markov in the same room so they can then blow up the room.
Oh my god, it's the fucking phony wars from World War II. Germany took a country, and now everyone's just sitting around like, well, what do we do?
What now?
and
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fantasy World War II.
It was just sitting there, and it's like,
No, this is World War I. The Amrai Empire is Austria.
No!
Oh god.
So what you're saying is, after we manage to get through the other side of this, somebody's gonna kill Archduke Ferdinand and blame it on that other guy?
Now the other question is, Fantasy Archduke...
Dragonfall's like, we ain't even fucking involved here.
The question I have is, because we'll figure out like where Fantasy Archduke Ferdinand is from, but I'm curious. Fantasy Archduke for Aftif. I'm curious. What kind of ancestry Aftif has? I'm thinking halfling.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
No, Baz, you don't understand. I don't know if you've seen what that man's
Fab.
facial hair looks like.
No, I do, and that's why, like, because it also helps that, like, in Grand Blue, the halfling equivalent, there's one character who's really fucking cool, who's literally named Yoda Ra, so Yodara, and he has, like, a very Archduke Ferdinand mustache, and it's great.
Yeah, it's huge.
Fucking excellent.
Okay, so with that established, we're on the precipice of Mystical War 1. We're on a boat to get to fuck. Prince Theron would technically be Fantasy Archduke Ferdinand in this scenario.
No.
But it failed this time.
It did.
This time.
Have you seen what all happened when they tried to assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand?
Yes, and it's one of my favorite dark stories that literally, if one of the assassins didn't get depressed and hungry and go get a sandwich, Archduke Ferdinand might still be alive and the World War might have not happened or happened very differently.
It was literally the definition of failing upward.
It is so fucking funny, and I love it.
Dude,
I mean, I
toss the
hate it,
bombs,
but I love the scenario. I love the situation.
tossed the grenades, didn't hit shit except for one car, and he's like, alright, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the bar and get
Miles, we gotta
drunk.
play
Gotcha.
fantasy. We gotta play fantasy. We can't do
Sorry,
history lesson.
sorry. I love history, don't know.
That's why I summarize it as a sandwich killed Archduke Ferdinand. Moving on.
That's me.
Today on Lock and Load, a history.
Take me away into fantasy, please.
So, Theron did not get murdered by a ham and cheese on rye, so World War I hasn't started in Fantasyland yet. The other question I wanted to pitch, and this is kind of more asking you guys about the plot that we're going on. I like the idea that the reason that our characters get their archetypes is because they go through an entrenched training, kind of like time skip, of like 6 months. So, I like this idea that the characters go into hiding for 6 months and become like a little bit more badass and become a more cohesive group, given I laid out to all of you like what I think our group's like strat should be from here on, which will make us much stronger and cohesive. I want to pitch the story idea that as we get to Omrai and the characters meet up with Theron, what's going to happen is that 6 months are going to go by. The group is going to train, learn where they can and can't go, and are kind of forced into this espionage story, which means we have to not per se take down the Tikal Empire, but we have to prove that they done it.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions about narrative and world stage
In World War One.
in Mystical War 1?
Oh, I gotta. All I'm thinking about is Zuriel's brother. Looking for him. I have to find the.
Oh my god.
I feel like it's going this.
Is
Oh.
the question, does he find the boy?
That's basically. I'm wondering if he manages to like actually. I'm trying to find him.
So like,
There it is.
so like, yes or no? Like, is Zuriel's brother able to find him during those 6 months?
Yes, that's it. I was looking for a meme. Sorry.
Focus on the game. Memes later.
Meme was about the game.
It was
No,
about the game.
no, that's how that works. Shush. We have. I think it's a 50-50 shot. I don't think it's likely that he would find us since we literally just left
Yeah.
the continent.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. What the fuck? Ah, damn it! 1 second. Pathfinder decided to reload on me. Ooh, that's a yes, actually. Ooh, we have to come back to that because here's my pitch for that, because it's a low yes. I think Zuriel is able to meet up with his brother after the 6 months of training and isolation as we're about to head back, or rather do more research on trying to prove that Tikal did what they did.
Okay. I agree.
I also have an idea on how. It's a very silly one.
I want us to
I
come.
would love to hear that.
I want to come back
Let's
to
come
it.
back to it, but I have an
Yeah.
idea.
I want to come back to it because there's one scene in particular that I think we need to have happen, given that we are going into essentially a very emotional scene for Markov.
Y'all ready to feel some feelings?
I have this idea that it, like the boat ride takes maybe a couple of days and everyone's a little tense, but like trying to make it happen. And I kind of imagine that we go to the Omrai, what's left of the Omrai Empire, but it's an area that the I would love to come up with a name for them later, but I'm just going to call them the Old Guard of Omrai. I kind of like the idea that the Old Guard have sort of like established themselves there as we're refugees, but in truth they're like trying to hunker down and like keep the prince safe and keep everyone else like together.
The normal people used to call them the guard dogs.
Oh, like that as a derogatory?
Yeah. But I think they just took it as like, whatever, they're not here anymore. It's kind of funny.
And now there's only like 10 guard dogs left.
The most elite.
I wouldn't even say that. It's just like maybe a sergeant.
No. I mean like the fact that they've been able to avoid the Tikal Empire by this point. Like even if they were a greenhorn when the Empire fell, they are not anymore if they're still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I can imagine that we go to like this semi-underground or like semi-cavernous kind of like port, and because we're able to stay in the shadows and we're able to stay hidden, when the ship docks and we go on to the dock, I want to pitch to you, Ari, that the prince is there because he is the one who sent after you. So he's like, I'm not waiting. I haven't seen Markov in over a year. I thought he was fucking dead. I kind of imagine that Theron is very comfortable being around his subordinates because he's not a prince anymore. He's Can I explain what the prince probably looks like now with what we've talked about before?
Go for it.
Prince Theron, I think Markov might explain, is maybe a little bit on the scrawnier side. Like he very much a twink of a man, of a prince. But within that year, you see, while still a rather like small figure, you see someone who has scars, someone who has bruises and muscles and a physique that gives off this design of someone who can be speedy and deadly. You see not the prince of the Omrai Empire, you see the leader of the Omrai resistance, but the way that he smiles at Markov, even though he's got scars, even though like the light in his eyes is a little dimmer over the things he's had to see and things he's had to do, it's almost like that old flame just flickers back on full throttle whenever Markov gets off the boat. And I kind of have this idea that the prince is like he can't help but smile, and like ironically it's almost mimicking like Markov's, but where Markov's is like, you look at it, it's a mask. The prince is genuine and he's got tears rolling down his eyes.
I think as soon as Markov gets off the boat, he can see Theron. Like, he looks different. I'm imagining that like his hair is cut short and everything too, but he recognizes him.
Cut short, but like still like kept very well, very combed.
Yeah. Like, he's standing on, like, the gangway down, and, like, he just freezes. He's just staring. And, like, when somebody, like, pushes past him or something, he just drops whatever... he just drops whatever he's carrying and just runs over and, like, literally tackles him to the ground with a big hug.
I imagine I imagine it's literally both Wander and, Kaimor, who, like, look at each other, nod, and, like, slightly kick at the back of his knee.
No, it's not even that. It's like they both just... they barely tap his back, and that's enough for Markov to shock himself.
No, that's more appropriate. They literally, like, almost slap the metal of his armor as if to, like, say, go, and then, like, he just runs.
I love that, but I imagined something funny where, because Ryan said somebody kind of pushes past him. I'm imagining like Beckett completely unaware, starting to walk past.
Markov just gut checks him off the boat into the water.
Way back
He doesn't even care.
In session 1, Beckett is like walking past, like, oh man, he really was. Fuck.
Okay, slight alteration. I kind of like instead, like, Beckett's, like, ready to get off the boat, but, like, Sarge just yoinks him back, like, no, hold on, you're not paying attention, something's happening. So, like, instead of it being, like...
And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I imagine that Markov, like, tackles Theron so much that they do a single roll over each other until he's just hugging them so tight that, like, Theron can't breathe.
And I can imagine that, like, Theron, like, as like, Markov was charging, he doesn't need to breathe. He took in a big breath. He's ready for this big fucking bear hug. And I kind of imagine, like, there's that brief moment of Markov being like, oh my god, I feel that, whenever, like, he's hugging him, like, holy shit, you got strong. Oh my god, you're alive! And, like, completely, like, forgets. What was Broderick gonna say?
Huh?
I thought
no, I was just gonna... No.
Like, I thought you were gonna add something to me, like, suggesting that you yoink,
Yeah, no, I just said, read the fucking room.
Read the fucking room. The one thing I want to add to this moment is that, like, even though he's so happy, the prince's face, or I guess we'll just start calling him by his name, Theron, it becomes a lot sadder as he, like, clings onto Markov and he just keeps saying 2 words. 4 words, actually. It's a flip-flop between, I'm sorry, it's my fault.
That's 5 words.
Fuck you!
I wasn't gonna get on to him about it, but...
You know what? Fuck you. Rocks fall and they both die.
No! Dragon just drops 2 boulders on them.
I'm gonna Game of Thrones these bitches.
But Markov, there's, like, actual tears, like, stinging his eyes, and he just says, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna roll something, but also I'm kind of stealing the narrative here because I feel like this is immensely likely. Yeah! Just says it back. Says I love you, Markov, back over and over again. Aww.
He's not gonna let Theron get up for a long time.
No, I think both of them are literally just going to be there until, like, they're exhausted. Meanwhile, I think everyone is able to read the room, so they, like, leave them be and, like, go about docking the ship, doing what they need to, and, like, going into their, like, little cave holes and the caverns that they're making their home.
So,
It's just like, it's just like home.
What I imagine it is, the lieutenant walks down and walks up to one of the, like, a guy that used to be a private, but now is just wearing, like, raggedy nothing with what's left of the armor on him, and the lieutenant, like, gently slaps him upside the head and says, "The fuck you all think you're doing? We're still needing a couple tents down there for some of the refugees. Get moving!" And they're like, "Oh shit, right?"
Yeah, like, they tell him to fuck off, but they also do what they were told to do. Like, I very much see Kymore being like, hey, I know we're all enjoying this moment, but, like, there is shit that needs to be done, and we need to leave them alone.
Kymore gets loud, and Zuriel's just like, oh my god, I didn't realize he could actually be startling. Zuriel's just, like, standing there, like, oh.
With that, I would then leave it up to you guys, because I know we have something for Zuriel. What would you guys like the next scene to be that we focus on?
Markov is carrying Theron wherever they go now. He's not letting this man out of his sight.
I feel like with the way that Theron is now, he wouldn't allow Markov to carry him, but, like, they're holding hands. They're being gay boys together.
I still imagine, like, the first 2 days, Markov was holding him, and Theron was like, I told you for the 1,000th time, I don't need to be carried. I can carry myself.
But I missed you.
They're so disastrously gay. I'm here for it.
and that's the one point Theron was just his face goes, like, red, and he's just like,
yeah,
it's I can't counter that.
I
imagine
so
that, like,
cute.
they're sitting down somewhere, and Markov just, like, sits behind Theron and just holds on to him around his waist and just buries his head in his neck.
Oh my god, he's a puppy dog!
He loves his boy.
Oh my god, this is great. Honestly, I actually have something I want to do for Wander now because, like, literally, like, Wander's closest friend up to this point was Markov, and Wander is going to, like, if anyone, like, notices, like, Wander gives those two an immense space, but every time Wander happens to see those two together, he just smiles. He's like, very much the good, fucking good. Markov's finally happy.
The
Like,
trauma's gone.
No, the trauma's not.
We wouldn't say that.
What are you talking about?
Everything's great.
What murder?
What murder?
What slaughter of hundreds of soldiers.
But no, like, Wander's not upset. Like, honestly, Wander's very relieved to, like, see that Markov has someone out there, and he's kind of reveling in his buddy's happiness. In a way, he's kind of living vicariously through Markov, because the things that Wander's worried about, he literally can't do anything about. Wander's become the new Markov. Oh no.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, no, Markov's still gonna be kind of fucked up.
Oh, obviously, but like you don't just get your old boyfriend back and everything's fine.
yeah.
But I think that now that I realize that, I think Wander kind of, like, literally beyond just keeping the group together, all of his personal concerns with his family's name being thrown around too much by some faker, with him being a criminal that now can't really go home, and in all intents and purposes, the Farflung Guild disowns him, though, like, it's one of those things where it's like, he knows, they know, like, it's what you have to do. I think Wander's kind of, not reveling, he's kind of stewing in the fact that he kind of feels like he knows what Markov has been feeling for the better part of a year and a half now. He's like, oh, I don't have a home anymore. At least not right now. If no one else wants to, I would love for us to focus on Zuriel's bit then. Ooh, actually, one thing I do want to point out and I want to add. So, I've established with everyone what our game plan is going to be, and if everyone's okay, I'd like to give a summary to the listener, like, how the group is going to function dynamically now in combat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, how we've made it is, we've got it where Markov and Broderick are going to be the front line, like, hardcore than ever before. Broderick is leaning way more in his desire to punch the shit out of things, and is way better at it. He has still kept his ability to negate damage and to help his allies from getting hit. He also has a couple of more healing abilities. Broderick is essentially tank support, while Markov has taken dips into Barbarian, is just tank DPS. He is going to open up with making everyone fucking scared of him, and then hit them harder, and then make them even more scared.
Yes.
Wander has learned or leaned into DPS support, where you're not going to see me fire the gun very often, but because of how much I can distract people, how much I can follow up things that Markov is doing to make people fearful, you're not going to see Wander fire often, but when he does, people's brains are literally going to explode. And when he's not firing his gun, he's making everyone think he's going to fire his gun, which makes it easier for Markov and Broderick to hit them.
Yeah.
Then we've got Beckett, which, Miles, you explained to us that you leaned more heavily into healer and debuffer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is only going to be great, like, more great, because that means that Wander has more chances to crit, and or more chances to double up on your debuffs if they're fear or distraction related. And then lastly, we have Zuriel. Zuriel is Donnie from the Wild Thornberries.
I don't know who that is. Oh, no. It took me a second. I do know who that is.
Literally,
I forgot the name.
The one thing that you'll have to do after today's session, Ellie, is you'll have to go through and fiddle with, like, what spells you want. I got you started with a couple of them, but you have such a diverse range of spells. I didn't want to like front load you with stuff you didn't like.
I literally was like, oh, okay, while we're talking about this, I'll go look at my spell list. And I went, what the fuck happened? And then it took me a minute as I scrolled all the way down and I went, oh, okay, that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah, your character essentially got a little refresh. The thing that's really cool about it is you can turn into way more animals now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that. You have the way more spells to work with. Honestly, the way I like to see it is Zuriel is definitely like our fucking wild card because they can do wild shape. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And I think that's what the 6 months are spent on as the group works together to improve each other's combat and usefulness. I think.
Can I do a
yeah
quick scene
Yeah.
with Sarge?
Yee.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I'd say about, I don't know, maybe halfway or 3/4 through these 6 months, as Beckett started started understanding himself and his physiology, and understanding what symptoms or benefits and lack thereof there is to being an undead of his kind, that being the only kind. One day he's sitting there and he's looking at the medical journal of his dad, and he flips to the last page again, that being the frantic scribbling, and he stares at it for like 10 seconds maybe before snapping it shut and then getting up and essentially searching the camp, finding Sarge, and he just goes, hey, Sergeant, and he does like a really terrible salute. He's like doing it like, you know the way the British do it, where they flip their hand upside down? He does that, but he puts it in the middle of his face.
Boy, what in the hell are you doing?
I don't know. Can I talk to you real quick?
Yeah, sure. What you need? And never do that again.
Duly noted. So, way back with the whole Wolfgang thing, we found null parts, right?
I remember.
And I assumed they were of my family. Is there a way you could... If they weren't, and we find Wolfgang again, could you help me find them?
You seemed pretty sure way back then that it was your family that we saw there. Has something changed?
I mean, first off, we both saw that room. They were so fucking mutilated that... No, I couldn't tell. What I could tell from it was the ring on one arm.
Right.
But that doesn't prove anything. I mean, look at this. And he points at his arm that is completely bone. I mean, ain't no ring fitting on there, unless you specifically make it, but besides the point.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from, and when the time comes, you know I'm with you.
I appreciate it, Sarge. I just wanted to hear it from someone, at least. And while we haven't individually talked much, you definitely have helped me out with points at all of himself.
Well, if there's one thing I've learned, is that a lone soldier is only worth as much as the people he's fighting for, and if you're in a unit, you should never be alone. So for as long as we're working together, we're together, no matter what it is we got to take care of.
You know damn well I'm not letting any of you out of my sight. You know how us dogs work? We form a bond and we don't leave you.
Points to
That
Markov.
sound. We're definitely not a standard unit, that's for damn sure. But
I mean, we have a demon guy, an undead guy that is way too smart, a guy that's so broken that his face won't go back the right way, elf that had wings that are gone now, and then a AWOL sergeant.
you ever feel like calling Wander a demon is giving him too much credit?
Ooh, was that a bit of spite I heard in your voice there?
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Little dwarf. And then he knocks his chest plate.
Now, if you're done being all sappy, why don't we find something to eat?
Meanwhile, Wander, keeping to himself, pauses. His ears wiggle. Something just happened.
It just happened.
His slanderous senses are tingling.
Someone's talking shit. No, wait. Even deeper pull. It's like, I don't know why, but I'm gonna kick the shit out of Sarge tomorrow.
Off in the distance. You're gonna try, Runt.
I'll patch you fuckers up when you're done.
And then I think we're good to start Zuriel's bit now, where it's been months later. We're all a little bit trained. We're all a little bit better. Who knows? Maybe we have different outfits. I don't know. I'll figure out later.
I like to imagine that Zuriel has a cloak now.
I like to
Maybe
imagine
an actual t-shirt instead of a vest.
I like to imagine that Wander has a hat now, since, he has to kind of keep his face hidden.
Look at my trucker hat. Anyways.
Look at my cowboy hat.
I like to think Markov actually cut his hair for once.
Oh,
so now it's like super short. Kind of like
it's like Theron's.
I was thinking that it was more like how short my hair is.
Oh, I actually like that. Yeah.
LT just doing a bit of supply, does a double take. Wait, what the fuck?
Markov turning to everybody after he's basically almost shaved off all his hair. How do I look, guys? Zuriel holding up like fucking cut off locks of Markov's hair, like the devil.
Like the devil.
Oh, chat people, how do I look? Like the devil.
I just love that idea, or like I could, if Beckett was still Rat, I could imagine Rat just breaking down crying like, I don't recognize who you. Who are you?
What is pale thing? What is pale thing?
Water runs over. It's like, whoa, Rat! Like, you can't just call someone a pale thing. That's fucked up.
A hiss comes out of his mouth as his jaws split open. Like it can't be a hiss, but it is a hiss, and it's like, what the fuck?
So for how this goes, how do you imagine Zuriel meeting up with their brother as we're about to embark on our espionage mission?
Oh my god. Now my question is like, I'm still trying to figure out, how did his brother get there?
Okay. I have an idea, and it's very, very silly.
Okay.
So, we remember that it was Barnaby that snuck us out of the city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Barnaby is sitting there all tired, you know, his armor being a little, like, scratched up and worn. He's like, it's been a long fucking
Miles,
day.
get to the point, buddy.
No, walks over and then sees brother hold up the sign in his face.
Do you know where this guy is?
Do you know where he is? And Barnaby's like, God damn it!
Like, if anyone's seen Has Been Hotel, the TV demon, the way he just goes, fuck!
I like that the idea of Zuriel's brother, like, as we left, he found a wanted poster of Zuriel, tore the reward part off, and started, like, holding it up, and it was just like, finally, I have a picture to identify my brother. And then it's, like, walking around everybody, and it's just like, I need to find this man. And I think, like, he's not very great socially, like, he's not mean or anything, he's just, like, doesn't know a lot of, like, social cues, he's just very awkward. He's just, like, I think a lot of people are like, we don't know where he is, because either they just don't know, or they're trying to keep the group safe, because if they're in the know, they know they're on the run, and they don't know who this guy that's looking for him is.
Yeah.
And then finally he gets to, like, Barnaby, and is like, do you know where this guy is? And Barnaby's like, who's asking? And Zuriel's brother finally, like, he's definitely had, like, a cloak over, like, his shoulders this whole time, hiding his wings and shit like that. Like, pulls down his hood and he's just like, this is my little brother, can you help me find him, please?
Is
Nobody
brother
else will.
help find... Like, common is his second language, so he's having a hard time
Probably, yeah.
I just imagine...
He's used to talking Sylvan.
I'm just imagining this big fuck-off person, and it's just like, help find brother, please?
I need to find him, brother. Need to find him, brother. Please. And he's, like, looking over to the dragon, he's, like, dragging in their human form, and he's just like, those are the words, right?
Dragon double thumbs up. Like, you're doing good. You're doing great, man.
The dragon is 100% acting as your character's brother's translator.
Mm-hmm.
Smart baby.
Oh yeah.
And I'm now wondering, does he take a boat like he should, or does he just go, oh, is this the location? Okay, walks off to the port, takes off cloak, okay, let's go, and then he and the dragon just, like, fly.
I literally think, like, your brother turns, like, yeah, you both literally fly there. It's like, ha! Like, they look at boats and your brother's just like, look at what they have to do to just mimic a fraction of our power.
No, dude has lived on a mountain so long,
Yeah.
he looks at the boats and goes, so that's how normal people get round.
No, I think he knows what a boat is. He's a little older than Zuriel. I think he knows, like, generally about, like, the trading and stuff that happened before. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name.
Silence.
Emrai.
Emrai, before that, fuck, brain.
Before the Empire
that
fell.
Yep.
There you go,
Thank
Chief.
you. I think he was, like, going to be
Fire
part of, like...
I
a
mean,
part of, like, helping
technically.
with trade. And so, like, he knows what a fucking boat is. I think when he and the dragon were starting to set off, they were like, let's set off on a boat. It'll be less inconspicuous. And he was just seasick the whole time. And so, like, when they approached water...
Why did we think this is a good idea? The dragon, I feel everything right now. We can... How do mortals deal with this? How do short lives deal with this? Oh my god, my senses are killing me!
I kind of...
You know, they have really heightened senses, so the boat rocket is like, oh god!
When approached with the idea of getting on a boat again, Zuriel's brother is like, fuck that.
I love the idea that literally it's not even just boats, it's any form of transportation. 100% stealing Natsu's gimmick from Fairy Tail. Like,
Yeah!
it's like he cannot handle being on a boat, in a car, in a train, period.
Oh my god. So I think when he shows up, it actually causes a bit of a commotion because I think when he shows up, he just like lands on the shoreline, wings out,
And then,
and I
oh my
don't
god,
know.
one of the guards just runs over to LT, who is like probably talking to Markov about supplies and everything. And then, Lieutenant, there's an elf at the dock. And then immediately LT lifts his head like, how the fuck? And then, okay, explain. Well, he just dropped off the boat, like, face first. Okay.
Well, we're
and-
hold on, Miles. You,
Yeah,
you
hold
lost
on.
the plot. Like, they flew to the island.
Oh, okay.
But
And how
I
did
do think it's funny, the idea that like they fly in, they land, everyone's super nervous and like, oh fuck, we're being invaded, and then immediately Zuriel's just like, wait a second.
Zuriel just like happens to be like around the like docks or whatever, maybe like helping stuff or whatever, or maybe like you said we might be like getting ready to leave, right?
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that
Yeah.
like we're getting ready to leave, and that's like just the last second. That's when your brother arrives.
I think like we're getting ready to leave. He lands and everybody's just like in this like, oh my god, you know, like getting weapons ready and everything. And Zuriel's just like, Ezekiel?
Zodiel!
Ezekiel?
He immediately,
And-
like nothing fucking happened. Didn't feel any emotions. Just shoots up. Fucking.
You know what I imagine?
Lee, Guy Sensei. Lee.
Guy
Sensei.
Sensei!
Here's what I'm imagining, because I feel like tell me if I'm wrong about this, Ellie, but I get the vibe out of Ezekiel. It's more like the original Madagascar, where it's like they keep saying their names and then like Alex is like getting angrier and it's like, oh, sugar honey iced tea.
So that honestly was about to what I think it was too, because
Well, it's Ellie's
Yeah.
scene. So Ellie,
Yeah.
does that sound like the vibe?
I think yes. I think it does. I think Zuriel's just like, oh my god, I don't think they go back and forth a lot. I think Zuriel's just like, oh my god, Ezekiel, hey, what are you doing here? And Ezekiel just starts walking
Laying
forward.
into him.
the entire time he was in Banahot, he was a sweet little baby. Instant flip to just like rage.
I
We
think,
had
I
one
think there's a
rule.
little I think there's a little misunderstanding at first. Like, since everybody else here is not like related to Ezekiel and has like just doesn't know him, it almost looks like he has murder eyes. But when like as he's looking at Zuriel just walking forward, and it's just like, Ricky, when I catch you,
When I catch you, Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky.
So like as he walks forward, Zuriel's like he's at first got his arms out, he's just like, oh my god, and then Ezekiel doesn't look very happy, and he just like turns and starts running.
we're gonna actually roll Pathfinder shit. I'm gonna roll a perception check, insight focus, to see if like I'm able to read the room on that one.
I think that would be a good, like, you would have an idea because he has
Oh, yeah.
fucking wings.
Oh yeah, sure, but like, I mean, there also could be the idea of, oh no, they're here to kill him. I think with a 21, Wander's definitely like, family. Honestly, can we make Beckett sad with that nat 20?
I was about to say Beckett sees the run, and then actually he just sits there and goes,
Like I feel like Beckett
Family.
literally like remembers a
Aw.
similar moment with his sister.
And he's just like, oh, fuck.
Broderick's like, it's literally that, you know what it is, Worm? Broderick like pulls out like his fist and it's like, hey, not yet, Ferb. Not yet, Broderick.
It's that scene
I
from...
do love that. I do love that. I was even thinking of something way worse.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like there's just a cart that's like just eye level. So like Broderick's the only one that sees nothing. He's like, what are we all staring at?
He literally can't see what's happening.
My brain went to like Spider-Verse where it's fucking Peter raising his fists, like the cut scene where he kept pulling them back up, but that is so much better that he just can't see.
What happened?
Uh,
Oh shit.
I think if anybody like misunderstands and starts to try and get like in Ezekiel's way, Zuriel's like running along the shoreline. Ezekiel just like hops up into the air and then dives for Zuriel.
Wait, you just hear
Zuriel's just like, ah!
you just
Starts
hear
shrieking.
No.
you just hear the Betty Hill theme being played on a lute.
Is that
I
how
don't know.
Ezekiel figures out? Because he
I think-
expects Z to start flying with him.
I think that's part like that is one thing that kind of just happens here because Zuriel I think at this point is also wearing a cloak. I think Ezekiel wouldn't have his on right now, of course. But so like Ezekiel can't see Zuriel's wings and assumes that they're hidden. And then when he dives towards Zuriel and Zuriel doesn't fly up and away, he stops short and then just like stands right in front of him. And then I think he like literally like just turns him around and starts lifting the cloak, and Zuriel is like speaking in there like in Elven or whatever, and it's just like, you know, trying to be like, okay, hey, let's not do that right now. And I think they just kind of go into, you know, a conversation like in Elven about like, you know, where have you been, and you know, what happened, and how did you find me, just like back and forth. And then I think it sort of just like devolves into Ezekiel. Ezekiel is like Markov size. It just like devolves into Ezekiel pulling Zuriel into like this big hug.
No.
Aw. This is a very emotional fucking session. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, in this 6 months, Markov is not going to leave Theron's side.
I think the only time that I think we literally have to convince Markov to do team training, and like Theron has to be there as an audience member.
He does. And Markov like tries to show off for him.
Oh wait, hold.
Sometimes catching a fist in his fucking face from
Yeah.
Lieutenant as he's like, "Stop it! Focus!"
Every
Stop
so
being horny.
I've every so often, like I think for like this training, like Wander's using like blanks and like using like pellet rounds instead of like actual rounds. So like every so often he shoots Markov in the back of the head.
Theron, you're doing great, sweetie.
He's like Wander runs over, like, Wander, stop embarrassing in front of my boyfriend. And Wander, never.
Never.
I'm
Weirdly,
not training you to think with your dick, Markov.
Ron Sword, idiot.
Plymore says that, and Markov just stops, looks at his crotch, and then looks back up. Or look at the other crotch.
I you know, ironically, I think Markov getting a boyfriend actually made Wander and Markov like more brotherly with each other, because now Markov, like Wander can pick on Markov and it's funny now instead of oh no, it's traumatized.
Oh, it's traumatized.
just Wander, tease Markov. I'll kill you. Oh.
I'll kill you.
I think after they have their moment of just like hugging, Azuriel finally like pulls back and it's just like, oh, okay. Hey guys, this is my older brother.
Not
This
gonna lie, I thought you just spawned.
huh?
I did not realize that you had a family.
I'm very interested about how that came to be one of your conclusions about me, but
Beckett is like walking around Ezekiel and going, so that's how your guys' wings work. I mean, they're fucking huge. I mean, usually they'd have to be because otherwise they wouldn't be able to lift up this much mass. I mean, seriously, how the hell do you get in the air? I mean, usually wings are...
Wander chuckles in the background. He called you fat.
Ezekiel's just like watching Beckett. Ezekiel's just like watching Beckett like kind of like walk around him, and he's just like, "What the fuck is that?" And Zoriel like elbows him and she's like, "Be nice, be nice."
Oh, hey, I'm Beckett. Some people call me Rat. You can decide which one. I'm not alive. Anyways, how the fuck do you guys get up in the... Do you guys, like, train to get up in the air or anything? Is your wings hollow?
Wander slaps the back of Beckett's head. I told you not to do that in polite society. You're... Damn it, Beckett, you're scaring the hose!
I think Ezekiel looks
funny,
horrified.
though. I mean, come on, they gotta know what I'm about.
Quit scaring the hose, Beckett.
I think Ezekiel looks horrified, and the seemingly human that is like that arrived with him is just like, "Oh my god, you're so cool."
Somebody gets it.
The level of excitement.
Broderick will also introduce himself. I will say he no longer is introducing himself off the bat with his full rank. Just, I'm Broderick Blacksteel. Nice to meet a member of Zuriel's family for the first time. That's weird. Never thought that would happen.
Yes, well, we never thought he would leave, and then like he slowly turns his head, to, like,
and instead of
Zuriel,
hearing,
and Zuriel just like smiles nervously.
Instead of hearing the like the metal creaking sound, you just hear two granite rocks scraping against each other as he turns.
Okay, so Broderick will step back away from Ezekiel towards Zuriel, directly between them. Yes, well, sometimes the place you're supposed to be ain't the place you're at.
Granite rock sound as he has to lean his head so far down to look at the dwarf.
Ezekiel just crosses his arms and is just like, yeah, my brother tended to make a habit out of that, though he didn't used to fly into dangerous skies.
Can't really tell the wind where to carry you, though, now can you?
Ezekiel just sighs and he like holds a hand up and he's just like, listen, I'm not trying to start a fight or anything. I'm just here to take my brother home. And Zuriel's just like, I'm in the middle of something, actually.
Now, Zuriel, I'm sure what your brother meant to say was ask you to come home. Right? Smiles.
Ezekiel just huffs, like sighs through his nose, and is just like, are you guys the one who have been keeping my brother safe?
Safe is a relative word.
That doesn't inspire confidence. Ezekiel's like,
the answer is no. Your brother kept himself safe, including us.
He doesn't know how to fight, and Zuriel's just like, I didn't.
Wander is going to laugh, like, hearing that. It's like, oh shit, sorry, you were serious. I have seen this man almost eviscerate a metallic human hybrid with his teeth.
Now, fellas, I think there's been some confusion here. You must be looking for a different Zuriel, because our Zuriel mean on the battlefield.
He turns into a bear, and it's sick.
I've seen him impale people with horns or antlers or whatever the fuck deer have.
I think Ezekiel doesn't answer anybody else. Like, as soon as you guys bring up, like, him changing into animals, he just, like, looks at Zuriel and goes, when did you learn how to shapeshift? And Zuriel's just like, somewhere between falling out of the sky and now.
That's such a good line! Somewhere
so
between
perfect.
falling out of the sky and now.
That's also the most polite, like, Nunya I've ever heard. It's like, really? That's what you're asking me about? That. Okay.
I think at this point, yeah, I think the young, the little young dragon that's appearing as human right now, I think they probably appear as like a young or something, and they like they're like now walking around Zuriel and like looking, literally like grabbing his arms and like looking around him, and Zuriel's like, and who are you and why are you touching me?
Oh, that guy's medically inclined too.
And and the young dragon's just like, oh, sorry, I messed up my teleport. You weren't supposed to appear over here. Sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to teleport us back to the island. I messed up though. I don't know it very well. And I think at this point, like in response to that, Zuriel is now going to hide behind the largest of their party members. He like literally backs off and then goes to hide behind Markov.
Theron is there as well if Markov is there.
Theron is just like, I am lost.
Theron's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I don't know what's going on either.
So, you're that... Apologies if I am assuming here, because you seem human, which, as we know, don't live that long. And yet you mastered teleportation magic?
Clearly I didn't master it.
And yet you
I'm still
can do
learning.
it to a person moving out of terminal velocity.
Well, we weren't quite terminal velocity yet, I don't think.
I mean, you gotta give yourself some credit here, kid. You basically had, like... Because, again, Zuriel's, like, so much taller than Wander. Like, he, like, pats Zuriel in the back and basically says... I mean, you're letting gravity win, and you still somehow, while offshooting, made sure that Zuriel didn't become a pancake. That is what we like to call in the business failing forward.
Who is velocity and why are they terminal?
Wander's gonna look at Markov and, like, he's gonna give him that look of, like, I don't know if you're serious or fucking with me.
Markov, I'm gonna make
him a
an
blank
analogy.
stare.
Markov, I'm gonna give make an analogy, a physical thing, and I'm gonna smack you with it.
That's also
Markov
a good
just
line.
blinks at him. Theron, he face palms.
It's not even just like the one blink, it's like one eye blink, the other eye blink.
Yeah.
I think as like everybody is like commenting on their abilities, Ezekiel like just goes and they go, yeah. And Ezekiel gestures to them and they look at themselves like down then up and then go, oh, I'm not human.
Well, no shit.
Motions towards pretty much everyone except Markov. It actually points to Markov. It's like, that's okay, he's the only one who is.
Are you sure about
Your
that?
hair.
No, I'm actually
Like,
turns back
that.
over to Markov and goes, no, I'm actually not. Please don't
No
like
way.
ruin my worldview any more than it already is.
He gives a
The
shit
way I was
eating
literally
grin.
about to ask. Sarge was literally about to ask, wait, have we confirmed that he's human?
Markov is
Human
Markov.
I am my
Markov.
own.
Markov 100% would be that motherfucker who's like, King Shark is a shark.
Oh,
Shark is a shark.
at this point, Beckett looks at Wonder and says, "Have you not connected the context clues here?"
No?
And then he like scoots over so like the general everybody else doesn't hear. Wonder, that's the tiny little fucker that saved that one.
Yeah, that's really fucking obvious, dude. Like, I don't think anyone who's heard Zuriel's story would not realize that. I thought you meant like something more like mysterious and important.
Oh, I thought you didn't realize that they were a dragon. My bad.
Well, Wander like very quickly puts on a face like, and then just looks at Beckett like, come the fuck on.
Hey man, sometimes you don't get everything. You seem smart, but you don't get everything.
I feel like you're trying to push
He's
your
never smart.
failings onto me, so I'm just gonna leave this conversation briefly.
He's never.
No, he has a point.
Fuck you! No, he doesn't.
Fist on Shard. Sarge like, yeah.
Wander gets dramatic, leans in the boat. They're all against me. Everyone's against me. I have no one.
You're right.
I think,
Fuck you too.
I think Ezekiel's growing tired of our shenanigans, and so like he just steps kind of around a little bit Markov just so he can like look at Zuriel, and it's just like, seriously, I don't understand. Like I found them like injured on the island. I helped them, and they tell me that they saved you from dying at least, and I get over here and I find you on, and he like pulls out the like torn up wanted poster and goes, on a wanted poster? I don't.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah, really funny. We've all been worried sick. And Zariel's just like, I guess I kind of got in the middle of. He gestures towards like everything like behind him and just like, whatever all this is. And these are my friends, and I'm not going to just walk away just because you said you're gonna come pick me up now. And I think Ezekiel looks like hurt by Zuriel saying that he's not going to come home, at least not right away. Sorry, it's very difficult to try and figure out where to go from here.
No,
in my brain.
no, that's fine. I think maybe I actually can like throw my sense into this then. I think Wander maybe like kind of politely like tries to butt in and excuses himself into the conversation and says, look, we can't really be going around anyway. We're kind of incognito, as it were. Maybe for now, it would be smart if your brother comes with us. Just, you know, you guys can spend a little time together. We get back to the other side of where we're going. And then from there, you can decide how long you want to come with us. You know, we still plan to get you back home, Zuriel. That's not the plan.
Zuriel nods and is just like, yeah, of course. I do want to go home. I don't want to fuck off in the middle of this, you know?
He's committed.
Nods.
Hey, this is like kind of new for me. I've never had something that I've felt like if I walked away from that I would be abandoning people. I mean, even flying away, he like turns to Ezekiel and goes, even flying away from, you know, the village, it didn't feel like I was abandoning anybody. I always plan to come back. I still do. It's just, and I think finally, like, Ezekiel's kind of getting it, and he like sighs and he's just like, okay. And I think Ezekiel like looks at them and it's just like, I won't try to drag him back home right now, but I just need to know that he's going to be safe, so at the very least I can tell our family. And I think Zuriel answers for himself and he just goes, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Markov puts a hand on Ezekiel's shoulder and he says, I would rather die than let your brother come to harm.
And he just got his boyfriend back, so I mean he ain't dying anytime soon. So Zuriel's very safe.
And
right.
I already died, so I'll die again. And let me tell you, that shit sucked.
Wander putting a very tight grip on Beckett's shoulder, looking at him. The fuck you will.
And if I were to say
Okay, I get it. I'm not dying again. Ow, fuck! I'm
And if
sorry
I
that I
was
teased you.
still
I'm sorry
dying.
that I teased you. Okay, ow!
Go ahead, Broderick.
Nothing permanent over there. But yes, if all else fails, I am a trained healer.
He's got
Zuriel.
Side eye.
I feel like Broderick should make the joke. I've gotten so good, in fact, at healing, I know how to heal the dead one.
Oh, you know, matter of fact, leans in conspiratorially, realizes that he's a third of Ezekiel's height, leans back, acts like he never did anything. I've even started expanding my practice to healing dead things, like that one over there.
I wouldn't call that healing. More like just putting me back to. Ow! Okay, I get it. I'll stop. Just Wander gripping even tighter as he's trying to backtalk.
I just love the idea that Wander's not even doing anything like too intricate. He's just squeezing very tightly.
And
Just imagine he was
is so
pinching
soft, it's just.
Like I feel like Ezekiel is like starting to like focus more on Beckett and wonder like just are they'll be fine. Don't worry about that.
And then I think Ezekiel like looks back at Zuriel again and is just like, right, okay, well, it's good to see that you have some. And he looks back into the group. He goes, friends.
Markov gives a thumbs up.
And then I think Ezekiel like looks back at like maybe the lieutenant or somebody is just like, if it's okay, I'd like to sort of figure out what's going on around here. I am quite curious.
Oh, I think at that point, everyone, like, does their due diligence to, like, give a summary of the shit that the group is in.
Right.
I just got my boyfriend back.
Picks up boyfriend, and Theron's just like, hi, I'm boyfriend.
I got revived by a mad doc that killed me to do that.
We're just making jokes. Not everyone actually is going to summarize their stories.
That was my joke!
Ezekiel's just like, I wasn't meaning about everybody's backstory.
You were meaning about the plot.
Yes.
It started when I was born.
All started.
But I think
By
I
the
think how
way,
that.
oh, so I was just gonna say. By the way, if you ever meet an uncomfortably saucy lady with a scorpion tail, kill her with fire and run.
In that order, please. It would make our lives a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Still mad about the gun?
Oh.
I will never
Okay.
not be mad about that.
I think how this ends is Ezekiel gives Zuriel a hug, tells him to be safe, and then goes off like into like the little like refugee camp and whatever, and is trying to figure out. He figures since Zuriel is about to seemingly go off on a mission of some sorts, he wants to figure out how he can help and still be around when Zuriel gets back. That way, you know, he's ready to take him home at any point.
Yeah.
That's Ezekiel's goal.
Oh, I like that idea. I'm gonna say then that I think we can do one of two things, and then I would ask if you guys want to keep going after. Figuring out what the group is going to do to start undermining the I have to get my notes out again. 1 second. The Tikal Empire. So we could come up with some ideas or roll some dice, but I think we should discuss the mission the group is going on, or two, we'll roll some dice to see like how the travel went. So does anybody like have an idea of like what they'd like the first like, you know, revolutionary mission to be, or should I roll some dice?
I will also say that I do want to have a scene with Markov and Theron.
Yeah. And I will play Theron because that would be weird otherwise.
A little bit.
Yeah. Do we want to do the scene with Theron first, and then we can like see how we feel after?
That would probably be best.
Yeah.
Be weird otherwise, as in it would just be the auditory form of Ryan turning around and wrapping their arms around themselves.
How do you want this scene to go?
So I'm imagining that like Kaimor had like given each of them like their own small little tent in like the ruins of the city, but Markov had insisted on staying in Theron's tent, cause again, clingy as fuck.
Oh,
understandable. And it's like nighttime or something, and like they're cuddling in the tent. Markov like just grabs onto Theron really tight, and he says, "I could not believe that I had lost you for so long. I thought that I had failed everything."
Would you? I'm gonna approach this as if I'm like asking you to double check that what Theron would do, because this is less my character. But
I mean, he can be your character. I just kind of made. I made him, but you can control him however you'd like.
Hold on a second. I am getting a phone call, and I don't know why. Union County Courthouse. Be right back.
Okay.
So that was the Union County Courthouse from where we live. And apparently we left my original birth certificate in their office when we got our marriage license.
They're just now calling us.
Yeah, because I know we have a copy of it, because I know it's like stowed away. Like I put it in there, so I'm like, why are they only now calling about this?
We literally went there like May.
God.
And the only reason I didn't like think of anything is because we have a copy in the safe.
Didn't we like call him when we realized that we left that there like a week, like a couple days after we got there?
Yeah, but like, I don't know if they ever got, like, didn't we go back and grab it though?
I thought so. At least we went in there to make sure that if they had it or not, whatever.
Weird.
At least we know where it is now.
We'll be picking it up when we go out for shopping and everything later.
Remember, kids, there's nothing as messy and ineffective as government bureaucracy.
No, for real though.
County bureaucracy.
I think it's like Markov is like saying that I feel like Theron would say something to the effect of like, you can't blame yourself for everything that happened to me. There were plans and machinations well beyond even my control, let alone yours.
It's my job to protect you. I failed.
They would turn around and like hold Markov's face. That is probably one of the biggest lies that my family put in your head. If I have learned anything while being out here on my own, you can't have someone just protect one person. They have to protect themselves. You have to protect each other. And I never even once tried to protect you. That's what got me in the situation I'm in. You literally did everything you could, and I would have done far less if I were in your shoes. Stop beating yourself up over it. And he's like doing like little playful slaps.
Markov's like gonna gently grab his hands and like press him to his mouth. And he says, "You did much more than any other person has ever done for me. I should not be so hard on myself, but it is hard when and he presses his lips together and he kind of looks off. He says, it's hard when the person that I have loved is in danger and I can't do anything."
I think Theron would kind of go silent and like just squeeze onto Markov's hands and just be like, I don't think I understood back when we were in our regular situation, but I have not stopped thinking about you ever since I thought you were dead. I felt guilty about how we could have had so much more and been so much happier if, kind of like laughs, if I wasn't such a prince.
In my heart, you will always be my prince.
I don't think the prince can say anything at that. They just bury themselves into Markov's chest like, oh my god, that's so cheesy, shut the fuck up. But they're like blushing really bright.
Markov's gonna chuckle a little bit and kiss the top of his head. I'm just now realizing, Markov is romantic when he wants to be.
Yeah, it's showing and it's very cute. I'm gonna roll something. I actually want to see, like, to me, at this point, Theron has gone through a lot, and I feel like his kind of side character has been to, like, accept that not everything's about him, even if he wants it to be. So I kind of want to roll to see if he's going to give Markov like request him to eventually be able to stand on his own. Like he loves the clinginess. He's gonna have to be his own person though.
Yeah.
So I want to see if the prince can do it. And I'm gonna say 50-50 shot. He can. He's going to look at Markov and say, for now, while we have time, I love that you are so clingy and huggy and just completely all over me. And you can keep doing that for a while, but promise me that you'll keep turning into your own person. You're not entirely the Markov I fell in love with, but you are the person I can see being in love with for forever. Is that the sound Markov makes?
No, that's Ryan. That's Ryan.
Imagine if that came out of Markov.
Damn. If Markov made that noise and any of us were around, we'd be like, what the fuck did that man just do to him?
I did not know he was able to make those noises.
Fucking first name Prince, last name Charming.
Did he just like rip his nuts off or something?
Stop it!
Went up 6 octaves.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think Markov is going to pull Theron into a super tight hug. Again, one where he can't breathe. And bury himself in his neck and say, It will not be easy. I've always just been your guard dog, as they said.
I think, like, to kind of prove how capable he is, you kind of notice that Theron slips out of the grasp with ease. Like, oh, right, he can fight now. As he kind of proudly goes, I know how to bite for myself now. Also...
He raises an eyebrow.
Because you said guard duck. You're so stupid.
Okay. Okay, I was... Ignore me, my mind was in the gutter.
The massive blush again punches him in the shoulder. What I'm saying is, you wouldn't be here if you weren't strong enough on your own, and you wouldn't be able to be here if you didn't lean on your friends. Like, grabs his face. I love you, but so do they. So keep living in that world where so many people love you, and don't forget that we do.
I think Markov is not gonna say anything, but tears are starting to well up in his eyes. He like moves to rub his eyes, and then he just grabs Theron again and just rolls on top of him.
That's cute. I think that's does Markov want to say anything else, or like no, that I think that's a good scene end.
I was just gonna say, I will try my best to become more independent.
Just pats him on the head or the back as if to say, like, that's all we can ask. And then he's going to immediately just grab onto him. It's like, all right, but now is the time to be clingy.
Yes. This entire 6-month training montage is just they're like riding on Markov's shoulders.
I actually kind of like that idea of like, all right, we have it's make a man out of you or be a man, whatever the Mulan song is. But like for some reason you always see Theron like pushing Markov to go farther or try harder, but like in the most comedically dumb ways possible.
Oh, what's that Greek myth where the guy constantly rolled the boulder up the hill?
Sisyphus.
He's Sisyphean up in that shit.
At this point, unless anyone else wants to have any scenes.
I think I'm good.
Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and roll to see if the travel to the next area goes well. Something happens.
Something just happened.
Something just happened.
God damn it.
Every fucking time.
We're
Meme
not.
kills me.
Nope, it's a good meme. Shut up.
No, I've been
See,
retweeting
what I
about
would
it.
have gone for, winds howling.
Winds howling. That's actually a good one too. Let me get. Oh, whoops! I just realized I didn't have the table up. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see. So we're gonna get an interrupted scene. So, who wants to roll me a D100?
I can do it.
Okay.
I just
I
got
got
really
us a
excited
spider
about it.
encounter last time. I don't want to touch those die.
Plus 1 D100.
Yep.
Let's go.
57. Move away from a thread. Okay, so essentially, if we're trying to travel to a certain... Oh, you know what it could be? It could be that we have to stop at another port to, like, get supplies. Like, we take the ship, we're sailing, we stop somewhere else, and then we, from there, go to where our destination is, which we actually still need to figure out what our destination is. So that's going to be the thing that happens to us.
The
I
Paul shouldn't be too terribly far from Amra.
I was actually thinking, like, do we want it to be that they go into the heart of the enemy we're going to Tikal to try to, like, fuck shit up? I like
mean,
the idea.
So, what is our goal?
I believe the group's goal is to find proof that the former empire was betrayed by Tikal, and that's why the Omrai Empire was completely, like, shattered, which will make the world entirely focus on Tikal being the culprit, perpetrator, and, like, you know, fucking their shit up. And if the prince is still alive by the end, it'll be some kind of, like, reformation of Omrai, and the nearby continents and powers would want to try and get their hands in on that to have different ties with Theron.
Okay. So, we need to figure out a way to figure out how Tikal invaded Amrai. And the only way that I think that we would be able to know that is if we go to, like, a military outpost or something where they keep records of stuff like that.
I agree. So going to Tikal is the goal. I would almost also argue that there might be something to be said of, like, trying to, like, see if there's any kind of, like, gathering of people, like some kind of noble banquet, and trying to, like, pull information out that way. A lot of spy shit we're doing. So we are going to Tikal. Before we hit Tikal, we're going to hit a coastal port to resupply and also kind of make a plan of how to get into Tikal without getting caught, which we can explore next session. Is there any questions or anything anybody wants to throw in to what they want to see happen next in the story?
So, while we were playing, I did draw a new Pathfinder character. It would be kind of hard to integrate them into this story, but I think...
But damn, you'll find a way.
But I think it would be very fun.
Okay, do you want to share the art with us?
Yeah, hold on, let me get it real quick.
Oh, yes, this
I literally just made them.
And then he got an idea. An
Oh,
awful
I'm scared.
idea. The
I don't like where this is
DM
going.
got a horrible, awful idea.
I heard you cut yourself off. I was like, oh no.
You see, the thing I hate. Oh. I'm gonna leave that to later. I'll say that later.
Ryan sends this. Me. One fear.
Are we, guys? Are we boned? I feel like we're boned.
Let me put it this way. Ending theme of Digital Circus begins to blare in my head.
You could hit mute on that, you know.
But I don't want to. I kind of want the next adventure to be like a horror themed circus thing where we go to this coastal port and we get stuck in the coastal port for a while, and then we from there go to Tikal.
Oh,
Damn it,
man.
we're going on a side quest.
I don't think we need that. I don't think we need that at all.
Love a good side quest about scary clowns.
So I'm gonna do one of two things. We can take it up to a vote, or we can roll the dice, because I really want Eldritch Clown side quest. I really want Eldritch Clown side quest.
I also do.
All right.
All right, that's 2 votes for yes. We've still got 3 people.
I said I'm for it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm a punch a clown.
Oh,
You're gonna die, clown.
I'm really, really excited.
In your dreams.
Yes, regularly.
And the best part is, like, I have so many stupid ideas for this clown already. Okay, so we're going on a circus side quest. I love it. Anybody else want to?
What if the town, like the little port town that we go to, like a mysterious circus has started, like setting up camp outside of town, and people are starting to act nuts since it's been there.
I like that a lot, and that would give us a lot of reason to investigate, even though we have other shit to do.
I mean, who wouldn't want to punch a clown?
For real.
Miles,
Look, it works for Jason Todd.
If it works for Jason Todd. Miles, what about you? You've been very quiet.
Miles.
Miles?
I see him lighting up. I hear him typing.
Check
Also,
down
fell
for me.
asleep, did you?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
For now, so we can get ready to wrap up, is there anything anybody else wants to cover before we end the session tonight?
I cannot think of anything.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good here.
Then we'll wrap. We'll go ahead and wrap.
Picking out my new spells.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. We'll obviously discuss more of the side quests and everything we want to do, but like I think this has been a productive session. A lot of good lore and story stuff.
Yeah.
I want to try to get us into some combat next time. I will see how that goes, but I think it will be very fun. I'll make up a couple of different
Welcome, friends, to the House of Horrors.
I will come up with a couple of different stages of combat that we can insert at any point, and that way we can play around with our new abilities. For now, for those of you who are listening in, thanks for being here for the fun and sillies. We'll see you hopefully next week. Goodbye.
Later, nerds.
Bye-bye.